Welcome back to Hot Air with me, Joshua Robert. And today is the 1 year anniversary of Hot Air, of me launching this podcast. And honestly, it feels like it's been a lot longer than that. The amount of things that I have covered, the amount of amazing people that I have had on as guests, like still blows my mind. Like I don't know that I've fully even wrapped my head around some of the amazing guests that I've had and some of the things that I've shared that I never thought I would necessarily share. And if you are watching on YouTube, you can see we are back to visuals. And I moved into a new space, as I've mentioned many times on the pod. We were not doing visuals for about 2-ish months, maybe 2-ish months, because I was building this new podcast studio and it's not done yet. That shit takes a long time. I still have things coming. I have a plant over here. It's a cute pink plant. Shocking. I've got some wall coverings, window coverings, little bits and bobs to throw around the place. And in my mind, I'm like, you can't do visuals yet until everything is perfect, until it's all set up how you see it in your mind. And I went down that spiral. But what do I always say on this pod? If you're waiting for perfection, you're never going to do it. And that's exactly what happened a year ago when I started this podcast. I didn't necessarily know what Hot Air was going to be about. I knew it was going to be about my therapy journey, but I didn't know where it was going to lead me. Because at first I was just like, just start. You have to start. And old me would have waited for perfection. So I kind of thought like, okay, a year later, I'm still not going to wait for perfection. I am going to do this 1 year episode, even though the visuals are not going to be perfect, even though the studio is not completely how I want it to be. Why not just do it now? You can watch it evolve as we move forward into the future. And you should take that note with you. If we're always waiting for perfection, we're waiting for something perfect to like feel perfect, whether it's a hobby, whether it's your podcast you want to start, or you want to start painting, you want to take a new class, you want to put yourself out there, you want to quit your fucking job and travel the world. There is no better time than now. Okay. Now is the time. So this episode is completely unscripted, which a lot of them are scripted. Obviously, there's no way I can talk about all of that stuff. I go off on tangents. I go off script all of the time, but this is 100% no script whatsoever. And I've been wanting to do an episode that kind of gets a little bit more into me to help listeners understand me a little bit more. Questions that fall under the umbrella of Hot Air, but from my opinion and perspective. Obviously, I drop my opinion in every single episode, but I just thought it would be fun to help you guys get to know me a little bit better. So this could go well, or it could go terrible. I have no idea. I asked ChatGPT, which I don't think we're supposed to use that anymore. There's a new one. I can't remember its name. I asked it to come up with 10 questions for me that are going to be fun, funny, intriguing, probing, help the listener get to know me, right? So I asked it to create those 10 questions, and then I copied and pasted them. Literally, I'm not exaggerating, with my eyes crossed and half closed because I did not want to see what the questions were. Then I copied and pasted them. I sent them to my best friend, Jessica, and I was like, can you look at these? I don't know what they say. Let me know if this is a good direction in terms of questions and inquiries, and just to like celebrate this 1 year and just be a Leo and talk about myself for the next, who knows, 30, 40 minutes. She said they were good. And then I crossed my eyes again. I half closed my eyes again. I was like, real blurry vision. This is hard. I might be blind after this. Copied and pasted them into this app that puts it on this spinning wheel. So if you're on YouTube, I'm going to have that wheel right beside me as I spin it in real time, and it will show me the questions. I have no idea what the questions say. I've seen some of them start with what and how and I talk, and like that's it. I have no idea. I'm pretty sure the topics are relationships, family dynamics, politics, therapy, like mental health, the Hot Air topics, but I don't know what the questions are. I hope they're fun. I hope they're funny. I hope they're entertaining, and I hope you love it. And me being me, I of course have my Prosecco nearby. Actually, let me be real. I brought the bottle, okay? I brought the bottle. I'm not a bougie bitch, okay? I got La Marca from Trader Joe's. Let's be fucking real. I'm so not bougie that I don't even have a bottle stopper. I roll up paper towel and I shove it in the top of the bottle. In my mind, it conserves the bubbles. Who knows? But happy 1 year. I am so grateful for you all. I can't believe I've made it this far. Old me would have quit this project a long time ago, but I feel like we are on our way. I am genuinely very proud of what I've accomplished. You celebrate your small wins because I fucking celebrate mine all of the time. So I appreciate you. If you want to help me celebrate, maybe go drop me a review to celebrate my 1 year. That always helps the pod grow. But even if you don't, please keep listening. Please keep sharing. Please keep spreading the hot air love. Cheers to 2026. Cheers to another year, another 5 years, a fucking decade of hot air, because I am not going anywhere. And let's hit it. You know what? I drank out of the glass. Fuck it. I'm gonna drink out of the bottle. Okay. Let's reel it in here. So before I do get into this, I do just want to acknowledge the amount of people that have joined me as guests on this podcast. There are people that came on here so willingly. I slide into people's DMs all the time being like, hello, would you like to be a guest on Hot Air? And a lot of the time, I never get a response, right? Normal. That's fine. But when I don't expect to get a response, and then I do from people that are monumental to the LGBTQ plus movement, to the podcast space as a whole, to equal rights, to just like to health and wellness, to fitness, to therapy, like people that are known around the world have come on here to talk to me. Someone who just started this because I wanted to, and I felt like I wanted to do something that was going to be beneficial. And those people that came on this podcast, I will forever be grateful for. I continue to learn so much from these guests, and the fact that they dedicate an hour, hour and a half of their time to just talk to me is still wild to me, because I didn't want to start a podcast where it was just me. I always was like, I need to have a podcast that there's always a guest, or I'm a co-host. Like, I was really nervous about being by myself, and that had to do a lot with confidence, feeling like I knew what the fuck I was talking about, having a vision and really going for it. And a year down the road, I'm like, I'm just never going to have a guest again. That is not true. But I do have some exciting guests coming up very, very soon. But I think the response from the listeners that has been so positive, and people texting me or DMing me just saying that they love to listen. It feels like they're talking to their friend. That's what I want it to be. That's what I want this new space to be. I can't wait to have a guest here live on my sofa that I got from Temu. It's actually a really good sofa from Temu. But I can't wait to just feel more comfortable, get back in the groove, and just keep sharing stuff with you guys. So every guest, I'm so thankful. Every listener, so thankful. I mean, I feel like I'm just reiterating myself at this point, but it's 1 year, and I don't know. There's no words for it, right? This year has been transformative. I have so much that has happened in 2026, all very good things that I am also going to share over the next few months, probably. So we're definitely going to get more into me, my life, pop culture, as opposed to just me bitching and complaining about the far right all the time. Okay, we're still going to do that, but we're going to mix it up. We're going to keep things positive and hopefully, give you guys somewhere to go to escape from all of the madness. And that is what this episode is starting out. So we're going to start these 10 questions where who knows what's going to happen. I'm just going to go for it. We're going to spin this wheel and we're going to hope for the best. Hopefully it's nothing like wild or insane. Let me hydrate with some of my Prosecco first. All right. Spin number 1. Yay! Oh no, the questions are so long. Okay. Sorry, that question was a little bit cut off, but it says, what's a pattern that I keep repeating in dating that I know isn't serving me, but I still fall into anyway? I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is that I am a giver, that I always give, and it's always taken, taken, taken. And I'm not talking about sex, okay? Like when I'm dating someone, when I have a partner, I will do anything for them. I am a very loyal partner. However, that means I put my needs aside. And I've talked about this a lot in therapy. I do this not only in romantic relationships, family dynamics, friendships. I feel a lot. I'm definitely an empath. Sometimes, as you know, I think I'm very psychic. Like I feel a lot of things. And I genuinely feel, maybe it's the Leo in me, that I always have the answer or that I can provide an answer that I think is fucking genius. And friends, family, whoever I'm dating should take that advice and run with it because I know my shit. That's where my mind goes. And I get very invested because I fucking care. So I fall into that trap of giving more than I am receiving. Romantic, let's talk romantic specific. I haven't been in a lot of relationships, right? I've had one, two main ones. One was a marriage that is still a marriage, but it won't be for long. But I feel that I was always afraid of losing them, whoever it was. Even if it was somebody that I just went on a few dates with, I always felt like I was afraid of losing them. So I would give more and as much as I could, putting my needs to the side, whether it was my hobbies. I would cancel time with my friends so I could hang out with that person because I thought that they would leave me. And they did. I've never broken up with anybody in my life. I've always been broken up with or left in the fucking dust or ghosted. So my worst fears came true. And then I would tell myself I wasn't giving enough. There's more that I could have done. So my next relationship, I would just give, give, give. And now in retrospect, I see it. I know it. Thank fucking God to therapy. Also, thank fucking God to the new guy that I am dating, which we will be filling you in on. I'm sure he will be on the pod, assuming things continue to go well, but has shown me what it's like to have an equal balance. I give as much as he gives. He takes as much as I take. He is invested as much as I am invested. He wants to be with me as much as I want to be with him. And it is a wild fucking concept that a lot of us think is abnormal. And that kind of calm can be very terrifying because it's so unfamiliar when you're used to that roller coaster, that give, 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 when you put everything you give a fucking shit about on the back burner for somebody. And then all of a sudden, someone comes out of nowhere and it's almost like the roles are reversed. They don't put their stuff on the back burner, but they're giving you as much as you're giving. It is a wild thing to wrap your head around. I'm still digesting it, but I am so incredibly grateful that I have that experience regardless of what happens. So that is was that a long-winded answer? I don't know. I think that was a good length, right? I just give, give, give. I used to give, 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 and I have stopped doing that. So if you're a person that is continuously giving and not receiving, one of my friends said to me and my therapist that you only give as much as you are receiving. And I would fight that. I would always push back on that and be like, but that's not genuine to who I am. I am somebody that just cares a lot and will do anything for anybody that I love and care about. But not if you are not receiving that same amount of care. You can still love someone, you can still care about them, but if they are not giving you that energy, there is no reason you should be giving them more than you are giving yourself. It's almost like this is scripted. All right, we are moving on. Question 2. Yay! What role did I naturally fall into in my family growing up, and how has that helped or completely screwed me as an adult? Oof. That is a heavy one. But that's really interesting that ChatGPT came up with that. I would say, gosh, I don't know a role specifically. I would just say that I've always been, I mean, aside from being like really young and hyper and an absolute fucking lunatic, I would say that I was somebody that kind of, not held the cards close to their chest, but I've always been the one who was, I don't know, secretive, not okay, opening up, kind of held their feelings inside, wasn't sure exactly how to express themselves. And my parents were always there. They were always supportive. I've talked about this multiple times. I've also talked about how I would like them to be more of an ally to the queer community and expand their experience within the queer community and perspective, I guess, of the gays. But that doesn't mean they weren't always there, right? They were very, very supportive. They put me in therapy when I was really young because I guess I was an insane person, but then I would also get really quiet and I wouldn't open up about like how I was feeling, what I was thinking. And I used to go to this therapist named Margaret Nurse, which is like such a badass name. And I would go there. We would like play games. She would try to like get some information out of me. And my dad the other day, he actually was like, you wouldn't even say anything to her. Like you wouldn't open up. And I mean, that's hard as a child, right? When you don't know what gay is, but you know that you're different. It's really hard to just like even explain that experience or that feeling or what is even like happening in your brain. So I ended up kind of shutting down, being someone that was very internalized, and I didn't share a lot of my feelings, thoughts, and emotions. And that, as most of us know, leads to you being fucking angry. So I remember high school, I was not mean, but like I would say things to my friends, like I would call them like stupid fat bitches or fucking cunts or whatever. And we would all laugh, but like just like my attitude was terrible. Things I would still say in jest and joking, and only to a very specific inner circle of people that know me very well, but it was coming from a very different place. So I think the trap I fell into was just being silent, not knowing how to share my thoughts. And then that bled into my adulthood and bled into my 30s. And while I've been figuring that out, I've become very much outspoken. I kind of went to the other end of the spectrum where I say what's on my mind, I say what I think, I share what I'm feeling. And if you don't like it, frankly, I don't give a fuck. And I stand by that. If you don't like it, too bad. If you want to talk to me about it, you can talk to me about it. But I'm going to now always say what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. And that flip for me, I think, freaked out my family, because I went from Josh, who doesn't necessarily open up and express himself, to finding my confidence, understanding that I am a badass motherfucking bitch. I'm a baddie. I'm talented. I'm not but ugly. I am driven. I'm always doing something. And other people have seen that for a very long time. But for me to see that and acknowledge my talents, maybe acknowledge that I have a little bit of an ego in a good way. You can't have a podcast if you don't have an ego, but just coming to terms with the positive things about me, the things that make me me, and accepting them and finally being like, this is me, take it or leave it. That complete switch up shocked a lot of people. So I think I fell into the trap of being quiet, silent, weird, quirky, artsy kid that like obviously was a homo, but like didn't know how to express it, never shared his feelings, dragging that into my adulthood. And then just I kind of exploded. I kind of blew up and was like, this is me, you take it or leave it. So I think it's really important to find an outlet like therapy, to learn how to express yourself, to filter through all of those family dynamics, why you feel the way you do as an adult because of childhood, like figuring those things out, connecting those dots, even though they weren't like crazy negative dots, just like opened my mind, and I suddenly had a fucking opinion. And it's not going anywhere. All right, next up, let's spin. Yay! Oh God. How has my relationship with sex changed over time? And what do I understand about intimacy now? I've briefly talked about this on multiple episodes, but I think my relationship with sex now, much like a lot of other things in my life, feels safer. It feels comfortable. I'm not quite as nervous. Like I feel okay. The new guy that I'm dating makes me feel very confident, right? I'm never worried too much about my body. We all have our worries about our body, but like I'm not overthinking anything. I'm not worried about like if I feel a little bloated or chubby, whatever day, I'm comfortable trying new things with him. I'm really not overthinking it. But when I think back to previous relationships, I felt performative. I felt like I was trying too hard, or I wanted to be what they wanted me to be, or I would try new things because they wanted me to try new things. And I thought that I had to do those new things in order to keep them. I didn't have the confidence. I probably didn't even have the vocabulary to say I'm not comfortable doing that, or I'm like not really in the mood. Like, I used to make myself have sex with my ex because I was scared that he was going to leave, because time and time again, he showed me that he would leave. The amount of times we broke up and got back together. So I would use sex as a way to reel him back in because I knew I was good at it. And I still am, but let's be real. I was being performative. I was just using that physical attraction that he had for me to keep him, because I was so scared of being alone. It didn't mean I didn't love him. Like, of course I did. I married him. But yeah, I definitely used sex there, but it wasn't comfortable. I've never really been comfortable with sex until I found the confidence within myself to be comfortable with the other aspects of who I am, like addressing the internalized homophobia that I, didn't even know was a thing until I started Hot Air. And if you haven't listened to that episode, I think it's got to be like number 4 or 5. It's very early on, but it was one of the most popular. It's very interesting. And when I started learning about that stuff, I started to understand myself more. And again, when I started to go to therapy, I started to understand myself more and accept who I was finally. I started when I was 35, and I'm now 37 and a bit. So like 2.5 years of different therapists, but the biggest change was definitely in the last year. And I was finally able to find the confidence in being 5'7", in not being insanely muscular, in not having a six-pack, in not being mask for fucking mask. The things that used to be insecurities for me now became things that I'm proud of because they're fucking me. Like, that's who I am. I none of that is ever going to change. So finding the confidence in those other aspects of life, and just the confidence to sit in a room and talk to myself for an hour or two a week and share my thoughts and feelings with the world, 100% helped me feel confident in the bedroom. And it also takes somebody that is on your same level, that appreciates you and accepts you for you, to then make you feel comfortable in the bedroom. And I guess there was a second part here. What do I understand about intimacy now? I think intimacy is so nuanced. For me, intimacy, I thought, was just a physical type of thing. And I always said I didn't need a best friend and a partner. I just wanted, because I had enough friends. I always thought that a relationship was a different category. A romantic relationship was a different category than a friendship, because you're not fucking your friends. But I realized, like, that type of intimacy, being able to call someone when you're crying, or say whatever it is that's on your mind, to like smoke weed on FaceTime and feel like you're being absolutely irritating, and them tell you like you're being normal you. So either I'm always irritating, or I'm just overthinking things. But that type of intimacy where you feel comfortable not only in the bedroom, but outside of the bedroom, when you are completely 100% yourself. I think intimacy, again, is very nuanced, but as a whole, I guess intimacy isn't even a sexual thing for me anymore. It's more about the emotional connection and feeling like you can share all aspects and all facets of your life with someone without them judging you, and vice versa. Like, that to me is the most fucking intimate thing that could possibly be. And let's move on. Enough sex talk.
Yay!
Okay, what's a moment in my life that felt like a failure at the time, but I now see completely differently? Okay, honestly, this is going to sound I don't know if this is going to sound cocky, but I don't ever, okay, actually, like, I guess my marriage not working out, but like, I still don't even really see that as a failure. Maybe that's just like automatic to think that, but like, I don't really think about things that did not work out the way I wanted them to as failures. I think that everything that I have done in my life has led me to somewhere else, and I've learned a task or a skill, or I've learned a skill set that has helped me moving forward. So, like, for example, I grew up as a dancer. I worked professionally as a dancer for 10 years, but in that space, I learned about production, I learned about lighting, I learned about editing music, I learned about writing music. And then I moved on to teach for the cruise ships, where I learned even more about production and just organization. And I had to work with the lighting directors, the backstage staff, the costumers, all of these things where you're learning how to work in teams, how to delegate, how to program music and how to program lighting. And you're also working with a cast that is a variety of characters. We know singers and dancers are insane. I am one, so like I can say that. And I think I just learned a lot from just to take into life with me from there. And then my dance led me into a health and wellness space where I personal train and I teach group fitness classes, and I have a very good career in that space and some amazing clients. And I've applied the things that I've learned from them and from my training and from the research that I do specific to health and wellness to apply it to my life. But I think about my career as a singer dancer, and I never became famous. My goal was always to become famous, to have my name in lights. I mean, I have had my name in lights before. Okay. I did headline at Whiskey A Go Go once upon a time, my own music. I also had my own tour in China for 3 months where I was a singer. I had 4 dancers. I was on billboards. So like I did those things, right? And a lot of people don't know that kind of stuff about me. There's videos floating around there somewhere. See if you can find them. But I guess I didn't become a worldwide pop star. I was, known in little towns in China for like 12 seconds. And a version of me probably would have looked at that as a failure, but I learned something and I take it forward. If I didn't learn about production, music editing, lighting, all that stuff, this podcast probably would not be of high quality, or it might not even exist. I'm a firm believer that every quote unquote failure, what most people would deem as a failure, is actually just a lesson. And there is something in there, whether it's just a tiny little grain of gold. I don't know if gold comes in grains. What's the word I'm looking for? A nugget, a gold nugget is what I'm trying to say. There's a little gold nugget that you need and you should take with you, and it's going to apply somewhere else. Like it almost always happens. It always comes in hand later. So I don't think there's anything that I have failed at. And I don't know if that's cocky to say, but that's how I feel. I ain't no failure, honey. Okay. Okay. Let's move on. Yay! What's a belief that I have politically or socially that might surprise people or even piss them off? I would say, well, I hope it doesn't piss anybody off. I do think, listen, I don't like Trump, okay? I don't. We know this. I've talked about it at length. But I do think that everywhere, all the time, everything is twisted to fit a certain narrative. I don't think Republicans are as bad as we think they are. I don't think Democrats are as bad as Republicans think they are. I think that it's just part of the system that we are meant to be fighting with each other, that it's kind of set up that way. So the entire population is kind of against each other, or we're made to believe that, right? So that's not actually how it is. Does that make sense? We think everyone is either very far left or very far right, and that's why we're so very divided. But I don't necessarily think that that is the case. I think because if you are pretty far left or you're just left leaning, you think that all Republicans are out to get you, and vice versa. If you're from middle America or a red state, even if you're not MAGA, you still think that liberals are absolutely insane. I think this is all by design. It keeps us at each other's throats rather than going after the people who are in charge, that are supposed to be running the fucking country, that are supposed to be using our taxes for infrastructure to also help us. Like, hello, healthcare isn't a thing. Why isn't it a thing? And this kind of brings me to my second point, which is that I want to say I don't think Trump is as bad as we think that he is. I think he's a waste of space. I think that he's not a smart man, but I do think that a lot of stuff is so hyped up in social media and on the news, and depending on what you're watching, it's going to make you love him or it's going to make you hate him, and then it makes us all love or hate each other. So, for example, my mom was texting me, I said this already in an episode, about ICE and how she was scared for me because I'm Canadian, even though I'm here legally and I have a green card. And she was telling me about all of her fears. My other friend, Jessica, was telling me how somebody from Ireland has been in detention or in a detention center, ICE detention center for like however many months. And well, that is terrible. The laws are the laws, right? So this person from Ireland, they may have overstayed their welcome. They may have overstayed their visa. They may have tried to enter and lied about something. We don't actually know. And so when somebody is taken, like I've tried to cross the border before and they've told me no. This was in 2020 because I was coming here to get married to my fiance, even though I had already lived here. I went back to Canada in 2020 for the pandemic for about 3 months. And then I was coming back and they were like, you can't come into the country just to marry someone. And I didn't know you weren't supposed to say, like, I'm coming to get married. I had no idea about this 90-day fiance visa situation. Mind you, we had been in a relationship for 5 years by then, but they turned me away. Had I continued to, like, I don't know, if I had lied or like made something up or whatever, they could have arrested me. They could have taken me. If you were lying to an officer, an immigration officer or TSA or whatever the fuck they're called, United States immigration, whatever, you can potentially be arrested. Well, I don't agree with what ICE is doing. Well, I don't agree with the fact that they are running around and like, potentially breaking down people's doors, killing people. Obviously, that is terrible. But that's just like saying that like every cop is a corrupt cop or every priest is a corrupt priest, like, or every teacher is a pedophile. Like, that's just not the case. Or every gay is... I'm not even going to go there, actually. I'm not even going to go there. So I think that might be a little bit surprising that there are times when I'll read something about what Trump has done and I can see how people would think that it is a good and positive thing. Even though I may disagree with it, I at least have a broad enough perspective and an open enough mind to be like, okay, maybe people are down with it. I feel like that answer was I went in circles and circles and circles. But like, I don't like Trump, but I do think that he's, not as much as of a fucking idiot as we think he is, I guess. I don't know. I'm move on. I'm not even gonna touch that anymore. Next up. Yay! Oh no. I talk a lot about confidence, but when do I feel the most insecure and what does that actually look like? I suppose I feel the most insecure. It's so crazy. I feel the most secure when I'm on stage performing or when I'm doing this and I know that thousands of eyes are going to see it. But put me in a room of 10 people that I don't know and I have to make small talk. That to me is terrifying. I'm going to start sweating thinking about it. I'm really not a fan of small talk. Like, I'm good one-on-one and I'm good if I'm performing and I'm engaging. You're always engaging with an audience when you're performing, but not in a way where I guess they have any control or any say. Perhaps it's the unknown of how someone might respond or judge you. I do feel that I feel uncomfortable in these group situations because of homophobia, because of being bullied so much throughout life. I think I take that into these situations, even if I'm going to the gay club. Like, we know that gays can still be bullies and bully the other gays that may not be 6 feet or white or have their six packs, whatever. We've talked about this, internalized homophobia. We've gone down this path. But I think I carry that into a lot of circumstances, a lot of situations. And I'd be very awkward sometimes. But I force myself to engage. I went to a networking event here in Hillcrest in San Diego. I think it was like early October. And there was about 150 people there. People that a lot of them knew each other. I had no idea who anybody was. They were all business owners. I was there for some podcast stuff. And that is terrifying to me because you're kind of expected to walk around, introduce yourself and be like, hi, I don't actually own a business here, but I'm a podcaster. Like, it just felt very weird and very unnatural, but I did it. I forced myself to. I went to the bathroom at one point and I was like, you need to take a breath. You're going to sweat through your jacket. You are wet and nasty. Get out there. Just literally force yourself. So I would stand there with my glass of wine and I would look, I would find someone and I would go, you're going to walk up to them. You're going to tell them why you're here. And you're going to just get a little information out of them. And once I started doing that a few times, it became easier and easier. Once I had another glass of wine, it was easier and easier. But I think it would surprise a lot of people that I feel the most insecure in groups of other people. And it's still something I'm working on, something I've got a lot better on. It's more of an internal thing. A lot of people outside looking in or looking at me would have no idea. But on the inside, I'm freaking the fuck out. So I'm either a narcissist or a really good liar or a sociopath or just lacking a little bit of social confidence. Next up.
Yay!
Oh, I need to fill up. I gotta fill up my Prosecco for this one. Okay. The question is, what is something about me that people assume based on what they see, but is actually completely wrong? I mean, I think you all know where I'm probably going to go with this. The answer is that I'm a cunt. I do have resting bitch face, okay? I get Botox. Listen, I pay for this shit. I'm a very focused person in the sense that if I have somewhere to be, I need to be there. I have my whole day kind of planned out, scheduled. I'm sort of learning to be a little bit more lenient with it, so I'm not such a resting bitch face terror. But I do just like get in this zone, especially at the gym, especially if I'm walking to the grocery store, when I'm trying to accomplish a task solo, just me. I look unapproachable. I don't look friendly. I look like an asshole. And then when people do meet me, my sarcasm, my attitude that I think is hilarious and people that have known me for a long time think is hilarious. Some people think I'm being serious at first and that I'm just a bitch. And then once they get to know me, they realize that that's me being funny. Like, a lot of times my sarcasm and jokes go right over people's heads because I don't really like break. I don't laugh. I just kind of try to make it funny. And it takes a while for people to get to know me. So I think I come across as like very cold, very stone-faced. It used to take me a while to warm up to people. Now I'm much better at being myself more quickly. But most people think, yeah, they just think that I'm a that I'm a cunt. And that's why I end every episode with saying, and I will see you next Tuesday, because I am a cunt. I can be, right? But I'm savage if someone comes for me or comes for my friends or comes for anybody that I care about. But it's always very surprising when people, later down the road, when I've developed a friendship or relationship with them, whatever, that they tell me that they were intimidated by me at first, or that they thought I was a bitch, or that their husband doesn't like gay men, but he loves me. And it's like, oh, I'm so glad I could appease your husband. But people even would tell me when I used to have like Grindr or Tinder and Hinge, they would say like they saw me at the gym and they were always really scared to approach me, that I look really intimidating. And I'm like, me, cute 5'7" me, what are you talking about? Like, I don't see that. But I do know that resting bitch face is actually just a guard to I've kind of like conditioned myself to have my walls up to protect myself from like uncomfortable situations. I think that is what a lot of gay men, that's why a lot of gay men, they strut down the street, but they have their resting bitch face. Like, we are confident and we want to be seen, but at the same time, a lot of us haven't dealt with the fact that we are still scared about being judged. We're still scared that we're going to be targeted or bullied while we're just running our everyday tasks. So the resting bitch face goes up because then nobody's going to approach you because they are scared of you. And still something I'm working on. I was voted at a birthday party. I was voted as the one that had the most resting bitch face, and that is accurate. And I support this message. But I'm not a bitch. I think I'm very honest, straightforward. I'm very giving. How many other times can I pat myself on the back in this episode? Let's move on.
Yay!
Oh. This is a good one. What's the real reason I started this podcast? And has that reason changed after a year? Well, the reason I started the pod was because I knew I wanted to start a podcast. And I didn't know what I wanted it necessarily to be about. When I started the podcast, originally I was like, I wanted it to be about my therapy journey specifically. And that was it. The things that I was learning about myself so I could share that with others and they could learn things about themselves. And it originally started about therapy and limerence, which you can go listen to that episode. That was supposed to be the first episode. And I was recording these episodes way ahead of time. So I had like 8 in my pocket. So I had 2 months of episodes. And then as I started, doing more and more episodes, like by like the 6th or 7th one that I was recording, it kind of evolved to being more LGBTQ plus focused. And that first episode that came out was about allyship, about queer allyship. And the response from that, both from listeners and family and friends, that some loved it, some hated it, some were not happy that I mentioned certain things, that really, honestly, it blew up my life in the best way possible. And I would do it again. And I stand by everything I said. But it blew it up in the best way because it made me so angry that I had to learn more about allyship, about internalized homophobia, about queer leaders, about people from history that were queer, about why I was feeling the way that I was feeling. And I can't even put like a term or a word to it. But it forced me to dive into things in therapy and then dive into research. And then Pride season came right after that. And when I did very Pride specific episodes, I realized how much I cared about the queer community, which wasn't necessarily where I wanted to take the pod originally. But in learning about Harvey Milk, about the Pride flag, about Stonewall, about things we've all heard about before, but like, have we actually read about them? Have we actually listened to podcasts about them? We don't get taught that stuff in school. Have we picked up a book and learned those things that led the queer community to where we are now? And that really ignited just the passion in me for equal rights, for standing up for people who are not the majority. And it really just like evolved from there. And there's times when I overthink, like, am I bouncing around from too many topics? Like, I guess the brand is me and my opinion, but it definitely has changed over the year. I think the way that I speak on the pod has vastly changed since the first episode. But I think at its core, every episode is still about what I'm learning in life and growth, trying new things, keeping yourself educated, knowing what's happening in the world, knowing what's happening within yourself, how to identify how you're feeling and work through maybe those harder days, and how to celebrate your small wins and your big wins, how to communicate effectively, how to love hard and healthy. Like, it's really just, it's really evolved. I can't even quite put my finger on the right terms. But it started out as one thing, and it has completely evolved into what I think hot air is meant to be. Next up.
Yay!
Okay. I might need some time to think about this. What's something therapy forced me to admit about myself that I really did not want to hear? Oh my gosh. Wait, where's the bottle? I need to check. Something I had to admit about myself that I did not. Oh my God, I can't even think. I think the first thing that is sort of coming to mind is what? I guess that I expect a lot from people, and when they're not able to provide what I expect, I get pissed off and frustrated. And I think that also falls in line with one of the previous questions that I give. So I expect people to give me exactly what I'm giving, but not everyone is capable of providing that same level of care or love or whatever it is, understanding or empathy. So I talked about this a lot with my therapist, the different relationships that I have, every relationship being different. I've always said, I treat everyone the same. I give the same amount of love and care and put in the same amount of effort to every relationship, but I don't ever receive that back. And everybody's different, right? Nobody is the same. So if I am expecting everyone to do the same, I'm just expecting them to be like me. So with my best friend, Natalie, I have to treat her differently than I would treat Jessica. With the new guy I'm dating, I would treat him differently than I would treat my husband. I love that I have a husband and a boyfriend at the same time. Let's just pop that in there. Goals, mission accomplished. Bury me alive. I don't need to be here anymore. I have a boyfriend and a husband. The way you treat like your mom is going to be different than your dad because everyone has different life experiences, different ways of communicating or sharing their feelings, different things that they do and do not like. Like nobody's the same. So it was really hard for me to be told that I need to do something differently, that I have to stop giving so much, that I have to only give what I am getting back. That's really the only thing that I can think of that was like difficult for me to kind of digest and understand about myself. I mean, there's a multitude of things where I'm like, oh my God, I've been like lying to myself in life. Like learning that I used to say, oh, it's really hard for me to open up. It takes me like a really long time to like get used to people. And then I realized that I was just telling myself that for so long, but that was no longer the case. Or even something as simple as like, oh, I have a really hard time sleeping. I never fall asleep. I was just telling myself that for the longest time. And that just became like my pattern and my reality. I think a lot of the things I learned in therapy were things that I was just telling myself and that have become facts, even though they no longer were facts. So yeah, carrying around a lot of old perspectives and being told that I need to get rid of those because it's no longer valid. It's no longer a part of my life. That was a little difficult. That could actually be an interesting future episode. So put a pin in that. We might revisit this whole question because I think I need to think about it more. But let's move on.
Yay!
What kind of friend am I really? And what's the kind of friend I wish I was better at being? Oh, okay. The kind of friend that I am, I think, well, I'm very straightforward. Like, you're going to get nothing but the truth from me as your friend. However, again, everyone needs a different kind of love. So when certain people ask me for advice or they're venting, I've learned to give a little bit of a different response in a different way, but I am a tough love type of person. Like I will say it like it is. I will call you out. Like I simply as a friend cannot stand by and like, I don't know, watch you tear your life apart while your other friends cheer you on. Like, I'm a little fearful to give too many examples here, but hypothetically, let's say that you are getting divorced and you are my friend and you are partying like a motherfucker and you are doing things that I think will come back to bite you in the ass before your divorce has even went to the lawyers. I'm going to tell you and I'm going to say, bitch, what are you doing? Like, tone it down because your husband is going to find out about this and it's not going to go well for you. Like, you need to focus on you right now, not getting insanely drunk and throwing up all the time and just like being a hot ass mess, right? That's how I would say it. Oh no. Like, I am that kind of friend, but I am also the kind of friend that will, with this same friend that I'm talking about, that when your pet dies, I will drive to your house, no matter how far it is, 40 minutes up the freeway, and I will lay on the sofa with you. Like I can be sentimental and caring and like affectionate, but I will also tell you the fucking truth. Like there's zero sugarcoating, right? I also think I'm like the funny friend. So there's that. I'm the funny, sarcastic friend. But the kind of friend that I wish I was better at being a little bit wiser with my words when it comes to that tough love. some of the stuff in the past that I have said and can say can come across very harsh. And I know that it has hurt friends' feelings. And this is, years ago. And I think I've learned to be better at this. And I've talked those things through with my friends. But I do still want to be a friend that is caring, that friends know they can go for, not just for tough love, but for reassurance, for comfort, for like a safe space. But I also don't mind being the tough love friend. Like sometimes that's what you need. Like you come to Josh to like tell you how it is and get you out of this funk and turn your fucking shit around, because we don't have time for that, honey. If he cheated on you, fuck that bitch. Go out, have a good time. Like, who cares? If you're like feeling depressed, I'm gonna tell you to order Domino's. I'm gonna tell you to get some snacks, put on a movie. Let's hang out, okay? Let's be depresso stresso. Like, I have no problem being cute with you on the sofa and living our stressed and depressed. And I also have no time telling you to put a slutty outfit on and get over yourself and get back out there. I think that's the best of both worlds, okay? You get it all with me, but I do wish that I could, and I can be a little bit calmer with my approach sometimes. All right, next up, we're almost there.
Yay!
Nope, did that one. Maybe we're done. Am I like on crack? Are we done?
Yay!
We did that one. Oh, well, we did them all. That was actually really fun. I hope that my answers made some sort of sense. I hope that you got to know me a little bit better. And again, I'm so excited for what Hot Air has to come. I hate when people are like, I'm so excited for that. But I am. Like, I'm so stoked. I think we've come a long way. I think I've shared a hell of a lot. I think we're going to have some really great guests on soon. Guests that are very close to me, that are going to show you more of what's been going on in my life, and guests that also I look up to, queer guests that are sharing their work, like books or their courses that they have to offer. It's going to be a really great year. And I'm also very excited to get this space done and show you more of it. My favorite word, zoom out. We're going to zoom out. We're going to be showing the whole space. But yeah. So thank you for listening to Hot Air for a year. If you've been here for a whole year, if you haven't, just thank you for listening in general. And make sure you're following me on Instagram and TikTok at _hotairpod. I have some wild content coming that is not necessarily podcast related, but is definitely gay as hell. And visit my website, hotairwithjoshuarobert.com, where you can shop my merch, submit your listener stories, and your topic suggestions. And again, thank you from the bottom of my dark little gay heart. Thank you for supporting Hot Air. I am Joshua Robert, and I will see you next Tuesday.